Alrighty, thank you so much for stopping by and watching this video. I have received several different messages of people wanting to know how to remove the background from an image. So in this video, I'm going to show you my method as far as how I remove the backgrounds. So I have about 4 different images here, and I use various methods, and I'm going to show you how I actually do it. Now, there are several different ways, to remove a background. Some may be way more effective than how I do it, but this is just what's easiest for me. So in this image, I'm going to go ahead and select layer 1, which is the black layer. Using my, I'm going to start with using this marquee tool. What we're going to do is that we're just going to go ahead and select the entire area. We're just going to select it and drag it over, and then just hit delete. And that right there will take care of the black background. All right, so I'm going to go ahead and deselect it, and then I'm going to go ahead and undo it to put the black background back. I'm going to show you a different way of erasing it, which is simply by using the eraser tool. All right, so let's go and deselect it, and we'll go ahead and select the eraser tool. All right, so I'm going to go ahead and make the eraser tool larger. This one was a little bit too large. Take it down just a little bit. And then you simply just start erasing. Now the key is to make sure that you have layer 1 selected. That way you're not, erasing the wrong item. Now I don't have any rhyme or reason as far as, the direction that I go into. I just erase until everything is gone. All right, and that takes care of that image. We're going to go ahead and move on to the next one. So on this one, I just want to delete the white background. So the way that I'm going to do this is that I'm going to go ahead and select the magic wand tool. I'm going to go ahead and just click just on, oh, I'm sorry. Okay, so this is the add to selection, and then this will take away from it. Okay, we'll make sure that the add is selected. We'll just go ahead and click on whatever area. So in this one, I just want the white background removed. One click, hit delete, and that takes care of taking that background out. All right, now this particular image, we're going to do the same exact thing using the same exact tool. We'll go ahead and select out, just one particular area, and that'll select a certain portion of it. But there are other little areas, those little white circles, that I want to select as well. And I don't want to have to go in and select them all individually. I mean, that would just be extremely tedious. So to select them all at one time is, I'm going to go up here, I'm going to hit select, and then similar. And then as you see, it'll go ahead and it will select all of the areas that are similar to my initial selection, which is that white area. And then all I have to do is just hit delete. All right, there we have it. And that will go ahead and deselect it. That way you can see what it's actually done. All right, and then we're going to move on to the final image, where this one definitely has more detail. So this one, I'm going to use a combination of all of the methods, and we're going to add another method into it as well. The new tool we're going to use, this tool is called the quick selection tool. This is usually my go-to to initially start. All right, so what we're going to do is that we're going to left click, and we're going to go ahead and drag over well, not the entire image, but just a portion of the image. I don't typically do the entire image because I'll have to zoom in and look at the areas that I may have missed. So just so I'm not having to backtrack and make it a little bit harder for myself, just do a little portion at a time, because like right here, if I just hit delete, I'm going to wind up cutting off a portion of his arm, which we don't want. So what I'm going to do is that I'm going to go ahead and select the subtract option. And then we're going to go ahead and add that back to the selection after we make the brush size a little bit smaller. That way it doesn't, that portion doesn't delete. And then what I'm going to do is go ahead and go around the image and see if there's any pieces that I may have missed. So like right here around his shirt, definitely don't want to delete that. So I'll add that portion back in. All right, we'll scroll down a little ways, look around his shoe. I see a little small piece right there that I'll go ahead and take off of there. All right, that looks good. I'm going to go ahead and scroll back up. Alrighty, so right there around the hair, we're going to go ahead and brush that back in because we don't want that to be deleted either. And then I'm going to go ahead and delete that just by hitting the delete key on the keyboard. And we'll go ahead and deselect it. All right, so now what we'll do is that we will go ahead and make another selection. Now right here, I mean, I guess I really could have just used a marquee tool, but just wanted to just get rid of it quickly here. And then I'm going to go ahead and go right back to the marquee tool. We're going to go ahead and add to selection and start taking out more of the background. So on this one right here, I'm just going to simply hit delete. The next one, we're just going to left click one time and hit delete. We'll go ahead and left click and we'll drag to add that selection. We'll hit delete. Okay, we're going to go ahead and do the same thing. Now right here, I see that I wound up adding too much of his jeans. We're going to go ahead and subtract that portion. Then we're going to go ahead and delete it. All right, but you know what? I think I see a piece that I missed, so we're going to go ahead and zoom in and add that little piece of his jeans back in. It's not a very huge spot, but I just happened to notice that. And then what I'll do is once I add that back in, I'll go ahead and delete that. All right, deselect. And then what we're going to do is that we're going to just go ahead and start deleting the rest of the background from in between their legs, around their feet, things of that nature. And then what I'll wind up doing is that from here, we'll go ahead and use another tool, which is really just the eraser tool. Now for this, and just like really with any other tool, I'm not looking for perfection. Just doing a real quick deletion of the background, and then I'm going to go back around and clean it up. Okay. All right, I see right there where I almost took a chunk of my son's leg off. All right, we're going to go ahead and add the shoe back in. And we'll go ahead and delete it. Now, I'm purposely not fast forwarding the video because I definitely wanted to show you all from beginning to end, literally the tools that I use to remove the background. I don't deviate from these particular tools. I don't use the pen tool or any other tool that may allow you to delete the background. Not because it's not a good method, it's just not how I taught myself to delete. Right here, I'm seeing that there are some blemishes that I didn't get. So now what I'll do is that I'll go ahead and switch over to the eraser tool. We'll go ahead and make that brush size a little bit smaller. And then what I'm going to do, I'm just going to go ahead and go over it and just begin deleting that. And then I'm going to wind up zooming in after this. And that's really going to help me to see things that I may have missed because I'm not zoomed all the way in. Plus my eyesight sucks, so zooming in is definitely a necessity. Alrighty, so I see those little lines that I wound up missing. I'm going to go ahead and get those deleted out. I am going to have to change my brush size, especially to get around and make sure I don't delete any portion that I want to keep. All right, we're going to make this brush size small again, because now what we're going to do is we're going to go ahead and start cleaning up the edge of the shoes and their jeans and pretty much everything on here. We're just going to go around, we're going to clean it up, and then we're going to go and soften up the brush to smooth it out so that when we add in our background, helps to blend it in a whole lot better. Right, just taking that out. Now, while I'm doing this, so how I kind of got started, well, not kind of, but how I got started with Photoshop. My grandfather came home one day with this CD, and he was telling me that he had picked up the CD, and it was supposed to be a program that was going to teach him, that would allow him to manipulate a photo. He was trying to create some sort of flyer for this event that he was having. I said, okay, I think that's, a great idea. And he handed me the CD. And so I'm looking at it, I'm like, okay, why did you give this to me? He says, so you can figure out how to do it. So, needless to say, I began teaching myself how to use the program so I could do this flyer for him. And it was a really old version. It was like Photoshop, I want to say 7. I don't know why the number 7 sticks out to me, but it was an older version of Photoshop. Right here, I'm seeing that there's a little piece that I missed that I'm just deleting out. So anyway, that's how I got started with Photoshop, and just kind of kept going from there. So that's why I may not necessarily use the tools that may be the quote-unquote proper tools to use, but this works for me. All right, so now what I did is that I switched the brush, and I am softening up those edges so that when I add in a background, everything just kind of blends in. So I'm not looking for perfection for the shoes or anything along those lines, because this is not something where I'm trying to make it look as though they are at a different place, if that makes sense. If I were, let's say, deleting the background because I wanted them to look as though they were, let's say, standing on a beach, then at that point, then I would definitely pay more close attention to their shoes and things along that nature, so that I could make it appear as closely as, or I can make it look as closely as possible to a realistic picture without anyone being able to point out and being like, hey, yeah, that's clearly photoshopped. But for this, when I'm customizing socks, customizing t-shirts, I'm typically doing some sort of collage. And in that collage, I almost always use some sort of imported background, and I just blend in all the images. So like I said, perfection is not what I'm looking for, because the end result makes it all just come together perfectly. Okay, we're just going to go ahead and slide it up a little bit. We're going to go ahead and clean up around the shoe. And then when you're using the eraser tool, what brush size you start out with is not necessarily what you're going to use throughout the entire edit. You'll notice even in this particular video, I go from, a large circular brush to a smaller one to, just anything. So you will have to modify the size periodically. And the whole point of just softening the edges, I just don't want it to just have a harsh edge. I just like everything just to blend in. Okay, right here, we're gonna get that little spot in between this shoe. Or I should say in between the shoe and my other son's leg. Now, right now, as I'm recording this video, it is 1:37 a.m. Thursday morning, and I have been trying to get this video out to you guys for a few days now. The reason why this is taking me so long, this is actually my third time doing a voice over of the video. So the first time that I did the voiceover of this video, did the entire thing, got my edits together, and I forgot to turn my mic on. So that was the first time. All right. I just laughed it off, and then I had done the one before this one, and once again got all the way through the video. I'm like, yes, got it done. I'll be able to upload it and share it with everyone come tomorrow. Then I realized that I forgot to hit record. All right, batting 1,000. I'm like, that was just super dumb. So now, because I am determined to share this with everyone, I am not going to stop until I get it completed. Talk about dedication. All right, so what we're going to do right here is we're going to go ahead and switch right back to the magic wand tool. It's just easier to just go ahead and select that, get that little piece, hit delete, and then I'm going to go back around it with the eraser tool. Yeah, so how I forgot to, turn my mic on, how I forgot to hit record, yeah, I have no clue. But things happen. As long as I'm able to get this content out to everyone, and hopefully with me trying to be as detailed as possible, I'm able to help somebody along the way. All right, so around the hair, even with this, I'm not trying to get extremely detailed. I just want to kind of soften up those edges. Let me know down below in the comments when you are trying to remove a background, what has worked for you? What tools do you use? What method works best? I may try it one day. Not to say I'm going to use it consistently, but I may try it. Okay, we're just going to go around the hair of my other son here. Then around the face, we're just going to kind of lightly go over it. I don't want it to be softened up too much there. Okay, I'm going to wind up using the magic wand tool because those green and yellowish, brownish pieces from the background, it's just a little bit quicker if I just use that. I'm going to delete it, and then I'll just go over it and soften up those edges again. Okay. just going to go ahead and make that brush a little bit larger. We're going to go ahead and go around his arm. Now my goal is definitely to go ahead and upload more videos and share with everyone different methods that I use to create apparel. You know, one day you may see me uploading videos about how to sublimate socks. It may be how to, you know, decorate t-shirts. You may see me doing some vinyl work for tote bags. Anything that has to do with decorating apparel or other type of substrates, I'm liable to create some sort of how-to video and upload it here. So when I was first starting out, you know, there are definitely some good videos that I've been able to see online, but for me, certain things, not all things, but certain things I just wish were, what am I trying to say? Just way more detailed. It would have helped my process, you know, along the way. So some things, you know, it wasn't, not all the time was it, you know, something major, but it may have been like, hey, well, had I have known, okay, well, I need to click on this tool first or go here first, it may have made it a little bit easier. So my goal really is to try to simplify the process and make things as easy as possible for anyone that is either a, you know, brand new or even someone that's been doing it for a while, you know, in hopes that I can just help as many people along the way. All right, we're still just kind of going around, just softening up the edges. I'm almost done here. And thank you so much for watching. Really appreciate it. If you haven't had an opportunity to, definitely go ahead and subscribe to the channel and like the video and come back and, you know, watch it again if you see something that you may need help with. For me, what I found is that when I was really wanting to learn a certain technique, sometimes I would literally replay certain videos until I got it down packed. So, you know, just a little piece of advice that may help somebody. All right, I kind of looked out and saw the corner of my eye. I'm like, something looks a little bit dark there. So it's just kind of, you know, a little piece of the background that just did not delete. Now, like I said before, you know, once you begin adding in the background, you'll start seeing little pieces that you may have forgotten to get, or you just didn't see. For me, my eyesight is bad, so you know, when I zoom in on things, you know, definitely stands out. And then when I add in the background, I'm really able to see things that, you know, I may have missed. All right, so at this point, I should be playing the Jeopardy song because I've ran out of things to talk about. With this being the third time recording the video, that's not surprising. But if you have any questions about, you know, the process that I use or anything along those lines, definitely go ahead and ask me down in the comments. Okay. In the comments also, let me know what stage you are at in the learning process. Are you a brand new beginner? Are you, more advanced? What stage are you at in this? Just kind of curious who all is watching these videos. And then also let me know what would interest you, what type of videos when it comes to sublimation would help you in your process. If I'm able to, I'll definitely try to do a video if I have enough people asking for these same things. Okay, we're just going to finish cleaning up around their legs. Now, we'll say out of the entire designing process, to me, this is really the most tedious piece of things. But for me, when it comes to customizing socks, it's extremely necessary. All right, we get down to the home stretch. We're almost done here. All right, it's 1:49 a.m. My entire household is asleep, and I've ran out of words to use. All right, I'm just zooming out, looking at the final product. And there you have it. That is the final method of me deleting the background. Thanks for watching.